There's a lot of double entendre going around right now.
Yeah, well, you know, it's been a long, lonely quarantine, sailor. Okay. So you waded into even the Prince Harry and Meghan Markle controversy. Charlie Kirk says Prince Harry is a metrosexual beta male, and you said Prince Harry is alpha AF. Thank you. There was
he's a combat veteran.
There was the video of him. He's doing an interview, and his unit starts, and he just rips off the microphone and goes, like, joins his unit. Right?
Yeah,
fantastic.
Let me tell you, Prince Harry had me with that video where first off, 2 combat tours in Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay. And the first one, he is a joint tactical air controller, which means he's calling airstrikes on the enemy. The second tour, he's an Apache helicopter attack pilot. And there's, people were saying, oh, well, there's no way they'll put a royal into harm's way. Really? Because when he was on that base in near Kandahar, it was attacked to kill him. They destroyed 12 U.S. Marine Corps vertical takeoff jump jets on that base in an attempt to kill him. He went around with an Apache helicopter where you can't keep a bodyguard in Apache. The helicopter's your bodyguard. And he literally flew around combat missions to vaporize people. Yeah. And that's the video, if you ever watch it, where he's being interviewed by the BBC. And in the middle of it, there's an alert because his soldiers are under attack. And he jumps up, rips off the mic, and hauls butt to go do his job. He's a royal, like Prince. You got to give props. Prince Andrew also flew combat missions in the Falklands. Say what you will about his later proclivities. These guys go out there. Charlie Kirk, that guy has done nothing in his life. I called him, he's a weak butt schmuck. Whereas Prince Harry's, he's salty AF.
Isn't it amazing that the right wing here automatically jumps to defend the racists in every story, right? They're like, oh, they're so woke, they want to cancel the royals. And I'm like, right, America was founded on canceling the royals, I believe.
Right.
I mean, I don't have the storied military history that the Nance family does, but if I recall my history, I mean, and that's racist. Asking how black your baby's skin is going to be is racist. And of course, the right wing here immediately jumps to the royals' defense, right?
Yeah.
And not Harry and Meghan.
Yeah, of course. And you know what I said? I can't recall what show I was on. I said, look, there's a way out of this hole, right? The royal family must embrace them wholly and say there's going to be a sea change in how the media covers us. You want any more access to the royals? You will treat these people as equal. We want them back in official capacity, right? But we're not taking it anymore. They're the royals. It's the queen. She could change everything in one short interview of 30 seconds.
I mean,
and she just has to realign everybody, and there's centuries of, blood. But, Archie is in line for the throne at some point. So, maybe 20th. But hey, the point is that he can either be an American and we can do some real royal family cancel culture, which we're famous for, as you said. We're famous for canceling the royals.
Or this is going to be Coming to America too, which I love the cast, but the movie's a hot mess. I just started watching it, and I don't.
All I know is this, okay? Prince Harry's a great guy. This is the guy who went on stage in London and sang part of the song "You'll Be Back" from Hamilton. Okay.
Well, everybody's
great grandfather.
Yeah, everybody's saying he's the husband that he wishes Diana had. I mean, it's just God bless him anyway, and God save the Queen.
They wish Prince Charles protected Diana the way he protects Meghan Markle.
Yes, exactly.
I'm telling you, this is the guy. Look, I'm just sorry. I'm saying it. But as a guy who's been married, we sort of look up to this guy. Yeah. First off, he's good looking as hell. Second off, he knows how to treat a lady.
Yes.
And if that means walking away from the family, time to start walking.
This is why, I mean, the ladies may love Cool J, but they also love the Malcolm Nance because they sense that you're that kind of man. You're that kind of hero. Right?
Oh,
yeah.
Well, my mother-in-law loves me.
I bet.
That's all you need to know. She calls me every other day from Montreal with her little French.
I saw how you were. I saw you with your wife. You romantic little devil. You. All right.
Oh.
you were Pepe Le Pew without the sexual harassment. Okay. Let's talk about why you're everywhere on TV now, because you talked about Russia's latest disinformation campaign aiming at undermining confidence in COVID-19 vaccines. We just talked about this yesterday. You said they're not targeting the news media. They're targeting QAnon believers. The one thing that defeats disinformation is accuracy and the truth. I mean, here we are. Yeah. We're not done with Russia. They're trying to undermine, they're trying to boost the anti-vaxxer movement, right?
Oh, yes. And, the thing is, you don't really have to boost the anti-vax movement when you have all these white, female, libertarian women who are in yoga groups. A good friend of mine runs a yoga program from Philadelphia called Beloga, which is called Black Oriented Yoga. And, she's a yogi. She's a Black woman. And she says, you just cannot believe what they're hitting us with.
Yeah.
It's coming from all directions in these private forums where they think that QAnon is real and now they're going into the whole, but don't you want to save the children? Russia is amplifying the crazy in America because now they know they have a solid 35 to 40% lock on this country. So they don't have to make, the best part about it is Russia doesn't have to make up anything crazy anymore.
Yeah.
Americans are doing it for them. And all Russia has to do is say, we agree.
Yeah.
Russia Today, I'm telling you, if I was Joe Biden, I would work with the FCC to block Russia Today in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
They are just a vehicle for evil. And, right up there with OANN and other propaganda outlets that all worship Trump.
Yeah. I mean, Laura Ingraham just said, forget everything, forget the doctors, do what you want. It's over. I mean, they're just continuing to peddle this dangerous medical misinformation. Let's talk about Capitol riots. You said on TV, Charlottesville was the coming out party, and these groups actually came together in the summer of 2020. They congealed into some sort of unofficial paramilitary of the Trump campaign. And, here we go. First of all, as you know, the FBI arrested Federico Klein, a former State Department aide, on charges related to his participation, the first Trump administration official, who was also a Trump campaign official. Prosecutors now contend his former employment status gave him top secret clearance, enhances their case to detain him pending trial. They say his participation in the riot was only heightened by the fact that at the time he was an employee of the Department of State with an obligation to uphold the Constitution. So that's a big deal, right?
Yeah, you remember numerous times on this show in 2017, 2018, I've said that the term unclearable, right, for security clearances had come up. Now, I had spent almost 3 decades with a top secret special security clearance, SCI, special access. I had never heard of the term unclearable.
Right.
You know why? Because they fired you. They wouldn't hire you if you were unclearable. And in the Trump administration, they said over 35 people with clearances in the White House were unclearable, including Jared Kushner. And then we find out this guy from State Department had multiple felonies and misdemeanors. He had assault charges, things that he would never get cleared for. And then, of course, we're surprised that he's an actual insurrectionist who tried to overthrow the United States government. There are dozens of these people inside that are still in from the Trump White House, and they need to be rooted out. And we need to give them a proper security clearance check. People should be running to the inspector generals right now because they brought all the inspector generals back and say, hey, this guy here, remember we had the guy who had beat his wife. Twice.
Right.
Isn't that Trump's
Yeah.
current press secretary or campaign secretary?
No. Oh, no. I'm sorry. That is Rob Porter was the wife beater.
Rob
Jason
Porter,
Miller
you're right.
is the one that slipped his pregnant mistress an abortion pill. You're
Oh.
confusing the family
I'm sorry.
values
It's hard
Republicans.
for me to
Yeah.
keep up with these guys,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The guy who
They're
tried
also
to slip
family
Nikki's
oriented.
in,
Uh-huh.
or the guy who had the quick left punch that always seemed to land on his wife's right eyes.
Yeah.
Both of
Right.
them.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Or as Trump would say, he
Unclearable.
strongly denies it. He strongly denies it. Okay,
Oh my
let's
God.
talk about oath keepers for a minute. So,
That's
an
a
oath
happy group.
keeper link, and so many linked to Roger Stone. Curious that our old friend from Trump Russia, Malcolm. Joshua James, who helped provide security for Stone on January 6th, was arrested in his home state of Alabama yesterday for his participation in the attack. That's about a dozen oath keepers have been charged among the 250 people who have been indicted. The filings also made no secret of the Oath Keepers' connection to Stone. So here we go again with Roger Stone, right? I mean, yeah. Go ahead. What's your take on that so far?
Yeah, and I've been assisting a photographic a group that is identifying military people in there, and believe me, we can tell. Some people put on like their patches and carry certain types of equipment. Most of these people are cosplay, right? I mean, really, they should all be wearing their, they shifted from Hello Kitty costumes and, Gungam, cosplay or stormtrooper uniforms, and then suddenly put on, Hawaiian shirts and started carrying real weapons. And that's what I meant about how these organizations had gone from the alt-right and had congealed all together into this pro-Trump paramilitary. Many of them, the entire Boogaloo movement, are cosplayers. Now, I'm not joking. They are live action role players. They're LARPers who traded in their plastic guns for real weapons and are now calling themselves insurrectionists or accelerationists who want to bring about the collapse of the United States and the rise of a white supremacist government.
Yeah.
Many of them were involved with Roger Stone. And these Oath Keeper guys, they're rolling them up left and right. Good on them.
Well, U.S. prosecutors Monday alleged that Oath Keepers founder Stuart Rhodes was in direct contact before, during, and immediately after the January 6th breach with members since charged with plotting to prevent Congress from confirming the results of the election. Prosecutors said they have recovered a chat called DC Op January 6, 21 on the encrypted Signal messaging app that shows that individuals, including those alleged to have conspired with others, were actively planning to use force and violence. I mean, they're going to keep piecing this together, aren't they, from texts and apps and all of that stuff?
Well, in every one of these indictments and the superseding indictments that have been filed against Oath Keepers, including, the group that came from Ohio, the people who were carrying out the security for Roger Stone, several of whom or a couple of whom were ex-cops. All of these people, and by the way, what was he, a pool salesman or something?
Yeah.
All of these people, as you read the indictments, you can see that they are going for a capital conspiracy indictment against Stuart Rhodes.
Yeah.
And that everything all of the Oath Keepers have done in some way, shape, or form was coordinated with him. And here's my favorite part, Roger Stone. So it's quite possible Roger Stone was privy to what the Oath Keepers were up to, if not encouraging them and Proud Boys. And guess what? His pardon doesn't cover any of this. So Roger Stone can find himself right there at the end of a large capital conspiracy to commit insurrection charge. Now, I don't know. Let's just let justice do its thing. But it looks bad.
Well, okay. And one last thing. So the FBI released this new video we've seen of the bombing suspect, the two separate devices outside the DNC and RNC, which pulled dozens of police away from their usual posts before the riot. They show the person, accused of why can't we find this? I understand he has a hoodie and all this stuff, but it seemed like a lot of tape they have now. Are they going to figure out who this guy is?
I'm wondering whether there's two things happening right now. Normally, the FBI is relatively good at rolling up people like this because, one, they have an enormous amount of forensic evidence. And just watching the video that they had released, there were eyewitnesses who walked past this individual. Case in point, the first video, is the guy, the older man, who's walking a beagle. So how many beagles are on 3rd Street in Northwest, Southeast Washington, D.C.?
Let's put Major. Let's put Major Biden on the case. Major Biden can crack this.
Major Biden can be, that's right. He can be the liaison officer.
Yes.
So the dog liaison officer. Oh my God, that would be a good one. Major Biden.
Major
terror
Biden.
hunter. And he hunts down dogs.
Yeah.
And so, that person knows whether it was a man or a woman.
Yeah.
Okay. They walked right by and saw that person. And let me tell you something. How many times have you walked down the street and saw a person standing there innocuously or using a phone that you've come within a foot of and you paid no attention to? That doesn't happen. Everyone pays attention to a person that they're 1 foot away from at night, 7:30 at night on a dark street, who's wearing a mask, who's standing there carrying a backpack. That person has probably already given the FBI all that they want. My theory is the FBI is trying to spook this individual because, as you know, people who carry out crimes, with the occasional exception of the Unabomber, they tend to talk.
Yeah.
Right? They tend to brag. So it's possible they are doing this to spook that person or to spook any other person to believe that they have less than what they have. Then again, they may have, hostage rescue team snipers surrounding that person's cabin right now, and they put this video out to see if that person runs. I don't know. I'm going to leave it up to the FBI, but believe me, they will get this person.
Yeah. And Major Biden.
Oh, yeah.
Detective first class. Okay. All right.
Dog detective.
Yeah. Love you, my pet detective. All right. Love you, Malcolm Nance. See you next week.